walks over to the man screaming out hatred towards the Jews, and she gives him a piece of her mind in perfect Arabic. And when she left the platform to walk down to her family, there was a tall, young German young man that was standing there, and he said to her, "Blank the Jews." And basically, a superlative, a nasty word that he shared, "Blank the Jews." And so that's kind of how it goes globally right now. There's a hatred. I'll read you some of the quotes that came from the conference. And here's some of them. In every generation, I wrote these down in my notes, and when I returned home, I typed them out. In every generation, the Jews are mugged, and that's true. Words and ideas created the Holocaust, coupled with reactionary social forces. Anti-Semitism is inherently genocidal, and that's true. There's a genocidal component to the hatred of Jews. The origin of hatred of Jews, this is my favorite one, by the way. The origin of hatred of Jews is the hatred of the origin of Jews. Let me say it again. The origin of the hatred of Jews is the hatred of the origin of Jews. And what the anti-Semite despises is that the Jewish people are God's chosen people, and they have a history. It goes all the way back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they despise the origin of the Jews. So the origin of hatred of the Jews is the hatred of the origin of the Jews. The word Shoah, you've heard that before, which describes the Holocaust. It means an unforeseen catastrophe, and it was used as early as 1933 in Palestine by religious Jews to describe Nazi tyranny against the Jews of Germany. Here's another one. No written order has ever been found for the final solution. Ordinary men organized and carried out the genocide as they saw fit. I never knew that. I thought there was orders that came from, the hierarchy of the Nazi regime, but they've never found a written order for the final solution. It was just, men, lower-ranking men that just carried out the final solution, the gassing and the murder of Jews as they saw fit. We can never forget that those who created the final solution, most of them were PhDs, 3 of them were medical doctors, and all of them were baptized Christians, which is remarkable. Here's another one. For capitalists, Jews were communist, and for communists, Jews were capitalist. What is anti-Semitism? Hating Jews more than necessary. Pedagogy doesn't work to educate someone out of an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Help them to see the historical continuities of anti-Semitism and allow them to draw their own conclusions. And I'll add to that a quote from Mark Twain, who said, "It's easier to fool a man than to convince him that he has been fooled." And there is a growing anti-Semitism within even Christianity and evangelicalism today, where the far-right evangelical right, they're blaming all the problems in America on Jews. And it's very difficult to convince them otherwise, to help them see the historical connections. That this has all happened before, from generation to generation. Jews have been mugged, and Jews have been blamed for all the problems of the world. Here's another one. Steal a little, and they put you in jail. Steal a lot, and they make you king. Isn't that true? Anti-Semitism coming from the left is like a slow-moving tropical storm. Anti-Semitism coming from the right is like a hurricane. And its most destructive form of anti-Semitism is anti-Semitism that comes from the right. And this is true of the evangelical progressive left and the Christian nationalist progressive right. The evangelical progressive left, they're opposed to the state of Israel, they're opposed to Zionism, they have issues with Judaism, and however, on the it's like a slow-moving tropical storm, but right now the evangelical far right is becoming very nationalistic. Their rhetoric is becoming very hateful and violent towards the Jewish people. And I follow this every day of my life, and I can tell you that my concern has always been the evangelical progressive left. That's replacement theology, supersessionistic, triumphalism. In other words, the church has triumphed over the Jew. The church has replaced the Jew. And so I've always thought that's the main danger, but in the last 3 years, the evangelical right is moving quickly into Christian nationalism, which is posing a great threat to Jewish existence. Here's another quote: "Anti-Semitism hates the eternal Jew." Another one: "Hitler likened the Jews to invisible wire pullers. He did not necessarily believe that all Jews were evil, but rather that all evil came from Jews. For the anti-Semite, evil contagion is Judaism, and every Jew, whether religious or not, will test positive for Judaism. That's why the anti-Semite must remove the contagion of the Jews." The Holocaust was a war against the very memory of Jews. And these are all, in my estimation, very true quotes. And when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about what I saw in England, which was empty churches all through the land. We'll see you on the other side of the break. Hi, I'm Aaron Free, president of Israel Team Advocates. There's an alarming decline today in the support of Israel among U.S. evangelical millennials ages 18 to 29. A May 2021 survey administered by the Barna Group shows that between 2018 and 2021, favorable support for Israel has been cut in half from 75% to 35% among evangelical millennials in the United States. If this trend continues, evangelicalism will be anti-Israel in just a few short years. And remember that young Christians today will be the leaders of tomorrow. Israel Team recently conducted interviews with students at a major evangelical university concerning their understanding of the Holocaust. The answers were troubling. To the first question, what was the Holocaust? Half of the students did not know. To the second question, who was Adolf Hitler? Again, only half of the students had knowledge enough to connect him to the Jewish genocide. In the remaining questions, we found a surprising, breathtaking, really, lack of historical understanding of the murder of 6 million Jews during the Holocaust. This example is indicative of a much larger problem. The study of the Holocaust is not prioritized in Christian primary, secondary, and higher education. And there's so much more that we can do. You can help Israel Team today by going to israelteam.org and clicking the donate button, and your tax-deductible gift today will help us in pushing back against this growing narrative of anti-Israelism within the evangelical millennial community. So go to israelteam.org and stand with us today. We're building a bridge for the coming generation, and it's so important that we build that bridge. So help us today at israelteam.org. That's israelteam.org.
This is Israel in You, bringing Israel and the Jewish people into focus.
Hey, welcome back to Israel in You, and I'm talking about my experience the last 2 weeks at Oxford University attending ISGAP, the Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism and Policy, a wonderful organization that is trying to push back against the trend of growing anti-Semitism on college campuses. And that's been, my mission the last several years with the Israel Team Advocates is we're working on Christian college campuses to push back against the growing narrative of anti-Zionism, anti-Judaism, and anti-Semitism. And so the majority of leaders that I meet in the world, and again, I was with probably 40 or 50 scholars from all over the world over a 2-week period. Most of them were Jews fighting anti-Semitism to protect their Jewish brothers and sisters globally. And I was only one of 2 Christian speakers at this event. One is Dr. Diane Martin from Wheaton College, and I've made several presentations in Diane's classes up at Wheaton where she teaches Holocaust studies. And so she and her husband Tom were there at the conference, wonderful, godly Christian people. So we were only 2 out of a major group of people speaking out against anti-Semitism, 2 Christians. And I find that that's basically how it is. And during the Holocaust, the number of Christians that stood up to protect the Jews, 0.1% of the European population. That's the population that was under Nazi occupation, including Germany. People like Corrie ten Boom that stood up and protected Jews. So there was 30,000 righteous of the nations that are honored at Yad Vashem. And many of you have been to Yad Vashem in Jerusalem, the Holocaust Memorial Museum. So they identify at Yad Vashem 30,000 righteous of the nations. Those are Christian people that stood up and did something to help the Jews. Pastor Martin Niemöller was a pastor in Germany during the Holocaust. He fled because he was protesting the Nazis. And after the war, he said Christianity is much more to blame than the SS or the Nazis. He said it because we did nothing to help the Jewish people. It's our hands that are stained with blood, the Christian church. And he gave the famous quote, first they came for the communists, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a communist. They came for the Jews. I didn't speak out because I wasn't a Jew. They came for the trade unionists, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a trade unionist. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out. And so Christianity within Germany, both Catholic and Protestant, they were indifferent. And what's the number of indifference? 0.1% of the population. And that's sort of true today, that we go on our merry way. We don't really pay much attention to what is happening within Christianity and the rise of anti-Semitism. And what I saw in Europe when I was there was a lot of empty churches. Church buildings that had become pubs or restaurants or discos. You walk by, oh, there's a beautiful church, and then you all of a sudden you look up and you see a sign, and you look in and there's people drinking and dancing. They become pubs and disco restaurants. And so Christianity is shrinking in the Western world, and there's no sign the decline will stop. In the U.S., a September 2022 Pew Research Center study found that in the next 50 years, Christianity may dip to as low as 35% of the U.S. population, a drop from 64% in 2022 and 91% in 1976. The Presbyterian Church, for example, between 2000 and 2015 declined by 40% and closed 15.4% of its churches. The Lutheran Church, Missouri Synod, reported in 2021 that it had lost 1 million members since 1971, and conservative evangelical denominations now represent only 14% of the U.S. population, down from 23% in 2006. So there's this decline going on, and I just wonder, is it perhaps because we've walked away from the rudiments of our faith, the Jewish roots of our faith? We've rejected them, and we don't see ourselves as brothers and sisters of elder Jewish brothers and sisters who founded this faith. And remember that the New Testament is written by Jews, and the Hebraic roots of the New Testament are phenomenal. But we've walked away in many circles. We've walked away from that, and we don't see ourselves in the face of the other. We don't see ourselves as neighbors of our Jewish friends. And someone once said, you become truly human when you can see yourself in the face of the other. And so I believe that's true. Can I love the Jewish people as fellow human beings? And it's difficult because after 2,000 years of anti-Semitism and Christian teaching like deicide, that the church, that the Jews killed Jesus. Actually, the Catholic Church in Nostra Aetate back in the Vatican II, they said, you know what, we've taught this false doctrine for years and years, and we're moving away from that, but it's still ingrained within the Christian conscience. But the Jews did not crucify Jesus, the Romans did. So if you want to blame someone, blame the Italians. I think that's probably one of the greatest deflections of guilt in the history of the world. Catholicism for 2,000 years has blamed the church for something the Italians did. The Romans did it. They crucified Jesus on a Roman cross. The nails that were driven into his hands were driven by Roman soldiers. It was Pilate, a ruthless Roman governor, that passed down judgment against Jesus. So we blame the Jews because at that time they said, "Let his blood be upon us and our children and our children's children." So we proclaim that this curse has been on the Jews for generations and generations. But that was a small group of politically aligned Judeans. And it's interesting to look up the word Judean, the Gospel of John, which is mentioned 67 times. And we mistranslate that word as Jews. The Jews said, "Let his blood be upon us and our children." But the word there is actually Judean. And in Greek, I think it's Deo, Judean. And so that small group of people that were connected to Herod, they were even despised by the Galileans. The Galileans didn't like the Judeans because they felt like they had sold out to the Roman Empire. And so it was this small group of leaders in Jerusalem that were politically aligned with Rome that wanted Jesus removed. So are we going to say that for 2,000 years there's been a curse on the Jewish people from generation to generation for something that a small group did? And again, it wasn't Jews that crucified Jesus, it was the Romans. So it's difficult after 2,000 years to shed doctrines like that have been taught for so long. Doctrines like the blood libel, which is being proclaimed today. There's people on the evangelical right within the Christian nationalist movement that are saying today that it's a QAnon theory, conspiracy theory, that Jewish elite individuals from Hollywood are trafficking young children and draining their blood so that Jews can drink the blood. They're turning this blood into a chemical called adrenochrome. And you say, "Aaron, you're nuts, you're crazy, we've never heard this before." Just look it up. Just in the last couple of weeks, Forbes magazine ran a story about the blood libel anti-Semitic theory of the Christian nationalists. The Washington Post ran a story. TMZ ran a story. The Tablet magazine ran a story on this whole new blood libel conspiracy theory being fomented today by many on the far Christian right that are proclaiming that it's a QAnon conspiracy theory that Jews are stealing children to drain their blood so that they can inject themselves with adrenochrome to live longer. So it's difficult when we have so many of these doctrines that speak out against the Jews. It's difficult to shed those things. So I pray that we can do that. I pray that we can see ourselves in the face of the other, that we can love our neighbor as ourselves, that we can stand with the Jewish people in these dark days of growing anti-Semitism, both on the evangelical left and on the evangelical right. We can see above it. We can ask questions. What is really going on here? Because I think until we return to our love for the Jewish people, the chosen people, I think we're going to continue to see decline within our churches across the world. So we'll see you next time on Israel and You. Thanks for being with me.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
And my father, your great-grandfather, fought in World War II.
Really?
He was a gunner on the big ship out in the Pacific Ocean.
Wow.
Your great-grandmother did her part, too.
Was she on a ship?
Oh, no. She stayed back home. She and a lot of her friends worked really hard in a factory because the men had gone off to war.
Ooh.
And they held scrap metal drives to help in the war effort. The folks back home were heroes, too.
Here at the American Family Association, we consider you the heroes back home. As you fulfill your responsibility of caring for your family day to day, your partnership with us is crucial as we fight the enemies of freedom in America. Thank you for your commitment to the American Family Association.
Grandpa, what's a scrap metal drive?
Let's get some cookies, and I'll tell you all about it.
This is Peter Roseberger, and this is your Caregiver Minute. Dark thoughts often grip us as caregivers. We fearfully cry out for someone to tell us what to do, where to go, how to cope, or even why this is happening to us. When he was just a toddler, our oldest son fell and lacerated his chin, and I had to hold him down while he received stitches. I'll never forget the look of terror in his eyes and his screams as he endured what, for him, was horrifying. He had no way to understand what was happening or how to cope. So instead of trying to explain infections, antibiotics, and so forth, I gently assured him that I was there and he would be okay. Soon the doctor finished and I held our son and dried his tears. How are we any different when traveling in the often long valley of the shadow of death? Our Heavenly Father doesn't often give us the answers we demand, but He does give us the assurance